It wasn't a crime for gain, but it certainly caused a lot of pain. But what do you think? Is prison too harsh for the two guys who felled the iconic Sycamore Gap tree and have each been sentenced to 4 years and 3 months in prison? The prosecutors described Adam Carruthers and Daniel Graham's actions as a moronic mission that caused over £600,000 in damage. But I'll repeat the question. Do you think that the punishment has fit the crime, or is a prison sentence for chopping down a tree an overreaction?
Well, property lawyer Sophie Campbell-Adams says it is too tough a punishment, but former Chief Superintendent of the Met Police, Dal Babu, says the sentence is fair. Let's come to you first of all then, Dal. 4 years and 3 months. That's a chunky amount of time for damaging a tree when no individuals were hurt.
Yeah, it's a substantial sentence. The maximum sentence for criminal damage is 10 years. I've visited the Sycamore tree. You've got part of the Adrian's wall. I remember when the tree was cut down, it damaged the wall as well. I mean, it just seems a really, really bizarre thing to do, to have got to... I remember when I travelled there, you can't drive there, so these people were tanked up, they'd drunk a lot, so there's probably a bit of drink-drive going on there. They've got to the scene, they've carried a chainsaw up to the tree. It's pretty premeditated. They're not the sharpest tools in the box. They've filmed themselves doing it. They've taken a trophy, a little bit of the tree. You know, so, you know, I think it's a fair sentence.
And do you think it's a fair sentence partly because it reflects widespread public outrage? I mean, there was real anger about this, not just in the area, but across the country, and actually not just in this country, you know, because the film is, the tree rather, is internationally famous because it's featured in the Robin Hood film. So do you think to some extent the judge's sentencing was driven by that, by public anger? Well,
the judge's sentencing guidelines are very, very strict, so there's things that they can do. They can give a discount, a third of a sentence, if somebody pleads guilty. We still don't know what the motivation is.
Because they didn't plead guilty.
Yeah. So, you know, they've got themselves to blame for the substantial sentence they've got. And I think it also sends out a message, because what you don't want to have is copycat situations up and down the country where people think, well, I can get a little bit of internet fame by doing something foolish like this.
Sorry, Dal. Sophie, there's no doubt that a lot of people were very, very upset by this. It held a special place in hundreds of thousands of people's hearts, if not millions. And I get upset when any tree's cut down, actually. I love all trees. But is 4 years and 3 months too much?
What this boils down to is a tree. And yes, it does have that significance. It's in people's hearts and minds, as you said, but it's a tree. And I find it interesting that it has no TPO, a tree preservation order, placed on it. It wasn't there, which means that, in theory, you can do what you want with the tree. It doesn't have that protection that really significant, important trees have and should have. Now, I'm not saying they shouldn't have been punished, but the punishment was too severe.
So what would you have accepted as a reasonable sentence then? A year, 6 months?
Well, going to prison isn't going to bring the tree back, is it? So a community service order, giving back to the community, you know, getting their hands dirty, planting trees to replace the sycamore would be much more suitable.
You don't think that when an individual, or in this case a pair of individuals working in tandem, essentially stick two fingers up at society and boast about what they've done. They boasted about what they'd done online the next day. They were looking for clicks, they were looking for follows. You don't think that that crime is so repellent in terms of its effect on ordinary people and on a cultural icon that it really bears more than a bit of community service, to put it right?
Yes, they are thugs. But are they being used as scapegoats here? I believe...
Scapegoats for what?
For, you know, stopping people doing this, as Dal said, stopping people doing this in the future.
That's the principle of deterrence. That's one of the reasons we have a system of crime and punishment, to deter others from doing what the guilty have been convicted of.
But is going to prison going to solve it? How many people are sitting in prison? We're running out of space, and you're sending two thugs for cutting down a tree to prison for 4 years.
Prison is surely a far bigger deterrent than community service, which a lot of people get out of and dodge.
It depends. They may ease into prison life far easier than doing a bit of hard work.
Let's go back to Dal then. Prisons are overstuffed. People we have on this show all the time talk about how serious crimes that have hurt members of their family are not getting long enough sentences. Why is this justified?
Well, I think there was outrage because you're talking about £600,000 worth. I mean, you can't put a price on it, but that's the price that the justice system had put on that. You could get 10 years. I think it's absolutely scandalous that somebody has gone there in a drunken state, driven there in a drunken state, gone up there with the chainsaws, chopped this tree down, and then goes for clicks, as Richard says. They put it on the internet. They're looking for fame. And I think it's really, really important that they get a strong deterrent, and actually the outrage that's felt across the world is satisfied.
Well, listen, we asked you, is prison too tough for cutting down a tree? 35% of you, just over a third, said yes, but 65% said no, you obviously back that sentence. Thank you for... I mean, it's a hard argument to make because of the public wave of anger on this, but you made it very well. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.